all this morning? I want to know something really interesting about your morning this morning. Who's got up early this morning? And when I mean early, I mean like before 7. What time did the rest of you get up? Like 10 minutes ago. Did anybody do any exercise this morning? Well, stand up if you did exercise this morning. Stand up. Stand up if you did exercise this morning. Stand up. Stand up if you did it. It's really easy. Just you then. Just you then. Round of applause for this man here. Okay, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I think what I think you need to be successful in business. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about, my background, and I'm going to talk to you about 3 really important things that will give you the edge in whatever you do. And I don't mean like the edge over somebody else. I just mean that extra little bit of oomph that's going to get you to a place that's really quite exciting, actually. These are my Twitter, so please follow me on Twitter. I've got 2. And this morning, I like to get up early because I think the mornings are the best part of the day. But I was reminded this morning about what makes people successful. And I was posting an article that was by an Olympic swimmer. And she said how hard it is sometimes to get up at 5 o'clock every day when the alarm goes off. And she said, sometimes I really don't want to get up. But she'd got an intrinsic motivation, something that she wanted in the future that was very exciting, that made her get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And when she was at that 5 o'clock point, when the alarm went off and she thought, oh, goodness me, I don't want to do today, she was reminded by something that her coach had told her some years before, because she'd arrived at just after 5 o'clock with her coach for training, and there was nobody else there. And the coach said, well, this is interesting, he said, because never mind, he said, some people actually prefer their pillows to success. So my question to you today is, which one are you? Do you like your pillows or do you like success? It's up to you. I would imagine probably the age range in here, maybe most of you in your early 20s. And I was just talking to the girls here about uni, and it makes me feel old and young both at the same time, being back in a uni environment, because it was over 20 odd years ago since I was at Coventry Uni, and I went there when I was 21 and I did engineering, and then I went back and then I did my MA. But I hope that you're like me. I just love learning. I'm fascinated by people. I'm totally obsessed by human behaviour. I'm totally obsessed by working out what makes the difference between you and the person next to you. Because seemingly we're all made of the same stuff, aren't we, basically? But I'm just obsessed about how I might live a little life, for me and for you, that has some interesting things in it. Interesting stories that we might leave behind. So yeah, I make my living now by my company. It's called the Achievers Academy for Women. I like men too. Not that I'm anti-men, it just so happens that my MA, my Masters in Leadership, I immersed myself in 20,000 words doing my MA on studying women's leadership. Of course, I'm a woman as well, so I know a lot about women. So when I left the motor industry 10 years ago, I thought, well, how about if I could make a living, making some money by doing the things that I love and that I'm passionate about. So I'm passionate about women because I spent all that time immersed in my research while I did my MA. So yeah, I'm not anti-men at all, and some of the things that I'm going to talk about today are as applicable to men as they are to women. It's just that women's my specialist subject along with motivation. So I've had my company now in various guises since 10 years ago, as I said, and it's interesting. When I'm from Coventry. Anybody know where Coventry is? Yeah. Ooh, somebody from Coventry. Woo-hoo. Nobody dare admit it now. They went, woo-hoo. Yes, I'm from Coventry. It's a place about an hour away, I think, from here. I was born there, and my family really were all about get a stable job, have a stable career, have a pension, And I thought that's what my life was going to be like. So I entered the motor industry. I told you I was an engineer, and I climbed the corporate ladder. Every 3 years I'd get a promotion, which was great. You know, and I led some projects in HR and communications and sales and marketing. But then I did find it really, really hard. And the higher I got to the top. And the reason why I found it hard is something subconsciously in my head was holding me back. It was my beliefs about myself. So when I left 10 years ago, I thought, right, I'm going to create something that I really enjoy. So I've been doing this sort of stuff for 10 years and I love it. The things I'm going to talk to you about, something that I just mentioned very briefly. You need to remember about 6 words to go away with today, because I like things simple and straightforward, things that you can remember. So 3 things that I'm going to talk to you about today that you need to achieve anything in your life, whether it's a business, a job, or getting better marks at your coursework, is belief. Belief. Second one's energy. And the third one's commitment. Belief, energy, and commitment. Because the interesting thing about belief is that we all have them, maybe culturally, you know, through the family upbringing, through things that we see in the media. But we've also got things that we believe about ourselves. And you might not have the first idea what I'm on about today, because probably nobody's ever mentioned that to yourself. But basically, your beliefs are like your roots that form your life. So whatever you believe about yourself is producing those fruits. So my question to anybody in life is, what fruits is your life producing for you at the moment? What fruits is your life producing for you at the moment? Because if it's producing average results, in your head you believe you're average. So whatever you believe about yourself will show up in your life. So if we believe we're average, we'll have an average turnout in our life. What fruits is your life producing at the moment? If you want more fruits, you have to believe better things about yourself. I'll just show you one. Everybody knows trees. I like things that are easy. Everybody knows what a tree looks like, right? Here's your tree. So what I'm talking about here is your beliefs, your roots that sit below the tree of your life. It's all shaped by what you believe about yourself. So if you believe that this is the best my life's going to be, I'm always a failure, it always goes wrong for me. My family don't do that sort of stuff. My family don't achieve in life. If you've got those beliefs, those roots under your skin, that's going to shape your life. So today, I want you to just go away and think about what you could be believing about yourself, just to challenge your thought processes. What am I believing about myself? So it's belief, energy, and commitment. That really talks to you about belief. And shall I share with you a bit of a story? Okay. I think somewhere in the literature it might have mentioned that I was on a telly show called The Apprentice. Does anybody watch it? Yeah. Put your hands up, please, so I just know who I'm talking to. Who loves it? I bet you all do, really. Lady at the back, what do you love about The Apprentice? What do you love about it?
I was just excited to see how people come up with ideas and how they develop it and how they will actually live out in front of them.
Yeah, what do you generally think about everybody that's on The Apprentice? And I don't mind, I can't be offended in any way, shape or form. What do you generally think?
I think I can do better than them.
Yeah.
Some of them.
This lady here says that she generally believes about herself that she could achieve much more than the people on the telly on The Apprentice. Yeah, so did I until I went on it. Anybody else over here watch The Apprentice? Did anybody see me on it? Great. Okay. You did? Yeah. No, you didn't. You can look up some YouTube clips of me, but essentially, I told you I'm a kid from Coventry, and a friend of mine said to me, you should go on this TV show called The Apprentice. For the students that haven't watched it, it's not really relevant at all to you about whether you know about it or not. It's a TV show where 2 teams compete 2 business-related tasks each week, and the winning, and basically they're competing to see who gets the best results, and then off the failing team, 1 person gets fired. So 3 people on the losing team go back into the boardroom and explain why it all failed, and 1 person gets fired every week. So it's a great entertaining telly show. I think when I was in it, about 8 million people watched it. And I'll say to you now, I didn't win. And I didn't win because I didn't have the belief about myself that I could win. Because I told you, I'm a kid from Coventry, that place about an hour down the road, and people like me don't go on telly. People like me don't go on telly. People like me definitely don't win when they go on telly. And I didn't know I had those beliefs about myself until I didn't win the TV show. So I had to really think about my own beliefs and my own behaviours, because I wanted to do more with my life. And you can't do more just being a failure, can you? But it was an interesting time in my life. I think probably what I did most successfully was getting on the thing in the first place. There's 10,000 people that apply to go on this show. And I thought, well, you know, I'm a kid from Coventry, I told you. I think basically I went on the Apprentice because I was an apprentice before. I actually won Coventry Apprentice of the Year. So it sort of sounded like the right thing. And a friend of mine said, you should go on it. And I think that was quite good advice, I don't know. But she said, you know, go on this TV show. And because it's a TV show, all the time I'm thinking, well, this actually could change my life. It could bring a whole lot more interesting experiences into my life that I hadn't got at that time. I'd just left the motor industry, as I said, and it was all right. But I'd done a coaching qualification. I highly recommend that you read motivational stuff and understand your own brain, because I started to read some of that stuff. And it started to inspire me. It started to give me a little light at the tunnel that said, well, I can maybe have more interesting stories in my life than ones I've currently got. So I got this mentality that was now like a juggernaut that's saying to me, you know, you can have some of these things in your life. You can create these experiences. You know, this dream, this vision that you've got, it can actually happen. So when The Apprentice come on, I saw it as like a little bus to get on. I thought, I'll get on this bus. It could introduce me to a whole new world. And I found it highly, highly inspiring. It's very, very hard work. Just to give you some examples of what they do behind the scenes, you know, in the girls' team, I think there was 14 of us all together. So, you know, you all sleep in the same bedroom, and yeah, they do get you up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So you do have to fight for the shower, who's going to get in first. And then behind the scenes, the producers are really, really, really putting the pressure on, because they're going, you know him? He doesn't really like you. What do you think about him? And you're going, oh man, he was supposed to be my best mate, and they're telling me he hates me. So behind the scenes, they're stirring it all up, and they're throwing in the bullets, and then they're depriving you of sleep, and you get really tired. And people say to me, well, why don't they just go on the internet and solve the problems on, you know, Google it? Well, they don't give you computers. They take your mobile phone away. You're not allowed to speak to anybody apart from a 10-minute phone call with one selected person in your family once a week, which is filmed. You can write letters which are censored. So they basically are making the environment as stressful as they can to make you look as stupid as they can to make great telly. Now, I don't mind. I'm not complaining. I went on these things. I'm a gambler. I think I like to gamble with a few things to see what it can bring. So it's very hard, very stressful. And, you know, but I learned a lot, because the things that don't kill you make you stronger, don't they? So but it was interesting then, you know, I don't know whether you follow the British media and stuff, but then it was very interesting because the press then started to follow me, and they started to, like, turn up at my mum and dad's house. So there they were in my mum and dad's living room, the Sunday papers, and I was all over that. And they called me Sir Alan's favourite nutter, which I don't know why. I don't know why. Somebody said to me, well, how did you handle all that press, all the things that they called you? I said, not very well, actually. I'm a human being, I'm a sensitive soul, and I don't like people, still don't like people calling me a nutter. And I still don't like what they wrote about me. But somehow I carried that stuff that they wrote about me in the press for a long time, and I had to shake it off. There was some humorous bits. You know Harry Hill? You ever watch Harry Hill on telly? Well, he was doing an Apprentice version with dogs. So one Saturday night, my phone's going mad, and my friends are going, Joe, Harry Hill was on the telly, and you're on it. I was like, oh God, right. And I was a Shih Tzu. It's a little furry dog, in case you didn't know. And then I think the Daily Mirror said I look like a spitting image puppet of Margaret Thatcher. I'm not getting that one. I don't know. For those of you into football, apparently there's a footballer called Ray Parlour. I look like him as well. They know who he is. I don't know who he is. So. Is he a real dog? I don't know. Anyway, so it was all good fun, and you know, it left me with a bit of a legacy, and it was highly inspiring. My best advice to people is just go for it. Go for it. I think probably you'll get that theme going throughout your conference, and I hope it does. Go for it. What have you actually got to lose? Yeah, I was called some stupid stuff. You know, I was in the newspapers. But I tell you what, it brought so many fascinating things into my life. I met so many really interesting people. You know, I used to walk down the street and people used to go, oh my God, it's Joe Cameron off the telly, oh my God. That's Julian, my partner, and yeah, he didn't know when we first dated. That was quite funny, wasn't it? He didn't know the first time we dated, and that was quite funny because we were just walking down Sainsbury's, you know, getting our tea, and yeah, the American lady was like, oh my God, it's Joe Cameron off the telly, oh my God. He's like, what? So, you know, just go for it. I meet lots of students actually, and they go, oh, people show me I should go on The Apprentice. Just do it. Just do it. So what? If it means to be a story in your life that you can tell your grandchildren, then great, so be it. But that was 8 years ago, and it was a great story. It was a great time of my life. Very challenging, very tough, very taxing, very exciting, very dramatic. But as I say, the things that you find hard, they don't kill you, it makes you stronger. So that was that. But I did leave The Apprentice, and I didn't, you know, I got the boot from the motor industry. I've now got booted off The Apprentice, and you know, I didn't want to be a loser anymore. It's not great being a loser, is it, or something that you want to achieve about yourself. So I had to work on my beliefs. I told you, coming back to the belief, I had to work on my belief about myself, because then I was handed a bit of an opportunity. It's called The Weakest Link. Does anybody watch The Weakest Link? Again, it's another TV show in the UK. Basically, it's a load of people and you get asked loads of questions. It's elimination, so each question you get wrong, somebody goes out, and you're eventually left with one or two people. Well, when they rang me about The Weakest Link, they said, this is for charity. And I was like, I like doing stuff for charity. I'm sure you do as well. But I'm patron of a charity called SANS, which is the Stillbirth and Neonatal Death Charity. Very, very important charity. So I'm patron of the charity. They said it's for charity. And I said, yeah, great, I'm in. But here's the interesting thing. I'm now going on The Weakest Link, but I'm not going to win with the belief system that I've got about myself, am I? Because I'm a failure, I'm a loser, I'm not going to win. So I had to work on my beliefs. And if I had another hour, I'd tell you exactly the steps that I followed. But I'm a big fan of visualization, so I had to visualize myself. Visualize an end outcome. If you talk to any athlete, any winner of gold medal, they visualize their outcome. Like Tom Daley, who won the gold medals, from about age 8, he'd got pictures on his wall of him winning the gold medal. Visualizing my outcome. So I used to visualize myself on the TV screen doing my winning speech. And then every day I had to tell myself positive self-talk to be able to think that I'm in with a chance. And then actually on the day, it was an Apprentice special, so you know, if you watch The Apprentice, you'll know that they're all loud. I don't fit in that box, but they're all loud, and I'm thinking, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm Joe Cameron from Coventry. I can't do this. Remember? Unfortunately, I had somebody with me that I was starting to cry, and I'm like, I'm now weak. I'm now weak. I'm Joe Cameron. I can't do this. And this person looked me in the eye. Sometimes you need somebody that looks you in the eye that goes, you can do this. I thought, well, that's interesting. If they think I can do it, well, maybe should I? So I went in the toilets and I did my thing, and I came out. I went in Joe Cameron, the loser, and I came out Joe Cameron, the winner. Because I'm going to win this thing. This is important to me. I'm going to win. Because it's for charity, remember? I'm going to win. God, I'm scared of myself now. I felt like a bit of a winner then. It's called getting yourself in state. So anyway, yeah, I was very proud to say that I went through all the rounds, and I won the £11,000 for charity, which was immense. I was highly delighted about that. It was brilliant. So I thought, well, There's something in my head now that's gone, something that's dead and buried, some beliefs about myself that have gone. So I won the weakest link, which I was very chuffed about. So now, it's very important that I have these routines. When I haven't got good belief, good energy and good commitment to my goal, my life will flatline. When I have a good routine where I get up in the morning, I visualise my outcomes for the day, I do some exercise to get my body moving, I remind myself who I am, where I'm going, I know where I'm going. The days that I do that religiously, I have a much better outcome for my day than the ones where I just drift through if I forgot. Because our habits are really important. So if you have a good success habit, you'll have a better quality of life. If you like success more than you like your pillow in the morning, we all like our pillow sometimes, don't we? I'm talking about liking success more than you like your pillow, generally speaking. So that's me and the weakest link. So that's about your belief, your energy and commitment. And then the energy thing is really important for anything. It's really easy, isn't it? Especially in this weather, to just sit at home and not do anything in the warm. Well, there's a real powerful link between what you do with your body and the outcomes for your life, you know, because if you're sitting in a warm room like that and you're all crunched up, you can't breathe properly. So when you're writing your essays, you're not going to write the best when you're like this. But if you go out for a walk and you think more creative ideas, it gets more energy and oxygen to your brain, you're going to think clearer. That's why exercise is so critically important. Does anybody watch TED Talks? If you don't, I highly recommend that you do. TED Talks, yeah, they're brilliant. There's a TED Talk that's really great, and I love the title. It's called, Why Do Some People Find Exercise More Difficult Than Others? Well, that's an interesting title. The content of this TED Talk actually says that when people are fitter, healthier, stronger, they'll achieve their goals and they're more likely to achieve the goals that they set because they're more focused and fit and healthy. So if you need any justification to get some exercise in your life, even if it's just a walk, have a look at that TED Talk. It's brilliant. Get yourself the TED app. They're brilliant. Rather than watching flipping Neighbours, put on your TED Talk. Okay. So that's about your energy. And then your commitment is about your commitment to your goal. I've worked with many students over the years when I was a lecturer and supervising their projects. And all you need to ask yourself is, how committed am I to getting the results that I want? How committed am I to this result? How committed am I to this result? Because if you score yourself out of 10, if you're only a 5 committed, you're less likely to get a good result than if you're a 10 committed. How committed am I to this goal? Because I tell you what, when you're fully committed to your goal, you're going to achieve it. You're going to get there no matter what. Because people have done, haven't they? You look at any of the major athletes or achievers in life, and there's plenty of quotes from people 100 years ago that have achieved things. So about your belief, energy and commitment. Okay, anybody want to ask any questions? Yes, my friend.
I wanted to ask
Yeah.
a couple of questions.
Yeah.
First of all, obviously in your history working with high profile management positions, it was rare for a woman to hold a senior role. So do you believe that times have changed and that glass ceiling no longer exists?
Ah, interesting.
Or do you believe that that's still the case?
Can I ask you a question back? Where do you think the glass ceiling exists?
Called like at high senior levels. Like
Let me ask you the question again. Where do you think the glass ceiling exists? Bearing in mind what I've just been saying about
in your mind.
in your head. My 2 favourite words are imagine if. Imagine if every day, every single woman went to work believing that we are justifiable and worthy and deserving of a board position. Imagine if we believe that. It's more likely to happen. I think on the whole, and I don't like stereotyping, but I've researched men and women for donkey's years, as I've told you, and I do think that men do think they are more likely to be successful. They've got more of an easier rite of passage than we do as women. Where my company works is in our heads to get rid of those beliefs about ourselves, that glass ceiling. Because if we allow it to be there, it'll always be there. And I'm not saying by any stretch that it's easy sometimes, because it can be really challenging. And I've been there in a board meeting that's full of men and they're effing and blinding and swearing and shouting. And do you know what I did? Well, anybody guess what I did when the men were effing and blinding and shouting and screaming? What did I do? I joined in. You're absolutely right. I joined in, and thankfully I knew another senior manager that took me to one side and he said, Jo, you need to change your behaviour, because I'd assimilated. I'd become like everybody else. So I'd gone into this pot, I started to drink down the pub, I started to swear a lot, I even looked like a bloke in a dark suit. Ridiculous. I looked back at pictures of myself thinking, what was I doing? That's not me. Be true to yourself. You know that thing, be true to yourself. I was like, oh, that's not me. And I found it really hard, so I assimilated, and it was only when the guy took me to one side and he said, Jo, you need to change your behaviour. So that's interesting. What does he mean? Where do I go from here? Because I'm seeing an organisational culture that recognises, seemingly, drinking down the pub, shouting and swearing and being very dictatorial. Somehow that culture seems to recognise that. So I'm trying to assimilate in the middle. Actually, what I prefer is a combination of the two, and I do absolutely believe that when we have more women in leadership positions, the world will be a better place. There's plenty of stuff that's been out on the internet recently. Do you know, I can't remember the bloody president's name. What's the president's name in the States? I can't remember his bloody name. Yeah, him, yeah, Barack Obama. Sometimes your brain stops when you're doing this thing. Sometimes it does, that's fine. But he put out an article that said, you know, women are needed in the world. And in the developing countries, what happens is, when you educate girls, the country becomes more stable. There's less terrorism, there's less conflicts, and the economy achieves better outcomes. In Rwanda, when it fell apart in Rwanda, the government over there said we are specifically wanting more women to have an equal seat. I think it's 60% now of women in government, and the country's more stable. In developing countries, when we educate women, girls then think that they have more of a choice than to maybe be forced into pregnancy earlier, like at 11. You know, in some developing countries around the world, girls are forced to have babies at 11, and of course their bodies are not built for it. And it broke my heart when I read that some of these girls, you know, the families know they're going to die. They're going to die, their babies are going to die, and they get an infection of their womb, and they're just put on the outskirts of a village in a shed to be eaten by the hyenas. That's going on today in the world. Let's not go around with blinkers in our eyes and say these things don't happen, they do. If you want to read about it, the book's called Half the Sky. It's absolutely a life-changing book. It's called Half the Sky, and it's written by a journalist who writes for the New York Times. And it'll tell you about, it's called Half the Sky because maybe the Chinese students will tell me it's a Chinese proverb, half the sky, that women hold up half the sky. That's why it's called Half the Sky. So when we have good egalitarian states where women have an equal standing to men, there are better economies, there's less terrorism, and you know, it's a better place generally. Because when we get, I know it's a long-winded way of answering your question, but I'm glad that you opened this door, because this is what I've spent 20 years of my life studying, is how women get to the top. And because what actually happens when you've got a load of blokes in a boardroom, like we did at Royal Bank of Scotland, you get something called group think. You might have, if you're studying diversity or management studies, you might have heard of it. Group think is a homogeneous mix of people that all think the same, that nobody will challenge it. And at Royal Bank of Scotland, the bank that collapsed in the UK, it was widely attributed to group think because nobody had challenged the boss. It's also attributed to the shuttle disaster, because there was one guy that was like the lone guy that was saying we can't do that, and they overtalked him, and the shuttle failed. It's called group think, and when you get more women involved in these settings, decisions are less likely to get what we call nodded through, where people just go, oh yeah, that's all right, that's okay. I say this is not a men versus women debate, and I don't think actually it applies to you guys, the younger generation, I hope, as much as what it does at the top. But there's still some organisations. There's something called the Davis Report that was written about 2 years ago, which said that basically the FTSE 100 companies in the UK needed to have 30% women on their boards. Some of them said, no, we're not doing it. I hope you think that sounds a bit crazy, because I do. I think you're idiots. You idiots, how are you going to get like a good customer and client base? How are you going to get great people to come and work for you if you just saying, no, we're not going to have more women on our boards? Because actually, more women on boards means that companies are less likely to go bust as well. So it's good all round to have more women in the place. And like I say, I'm sure I'm talking to the converted anyway. It's us oldies here that have got this conversation about how we improve it. So it's a long-winded way of answering it. I hope it doesn't affect your generation as much as what it does. You tell me, how do you feel about going to, what are you going to do when you leave uni?
Well, I want to go into business consulting. But I just feel like when I've worked within companies and businesses, the men tend to take a dominant position in the senior roles, and women are sort of subjected to more admin, lower positions.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Hope you're not going to be like that. Yes. Yes, please go ahead, and then I'm going to get you doing something, by the way.
I found out that you graduated from Apprentice.
Yeah.
So they're currently rated at 51 at the university.
Really? She's smart, this lady, isn't she? I was at a failing uni as well. That's now doomed, wasn't I?
So, do you believe that business leaders have a preference to what league university they would like their applicants to graduate from?
I haven't got the first idea. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. I tell you what employers are looking for. For me, running a small business, it's less about the uni that you're going to, it's more about your mentality. Especially when you work for us. I'm a great advocate for going to work in a small business because you learn it from the day one. In terms of my business journey, I started 10 years ago, as I said, and I started with a phone and that was it. A phone and a computer. And I went from being in a corporate land where I got my car and my computer and everything fixed, and now it's me. I remember having major meltdowns like, I've got to fix my computer. I think it took me about 3 months to decide on a name for my company. My first company was called Enliven, and it was a life coaching company, and I used to stand in the foyer of gyms. I'm thinking that people in gyms are going to want some life coaching, aren't they? I used to stand and hand out these leaflets, and I used to put on events, and nobody came. I used to sit there waiting for people to come and have their life changed, and nobody would come. 6 or 7 years later, we had 350 people at events. But unless you start small and think big, you're never going to start, are you? So I don't know. It's about mentality. I'm a great advocate, as I said, for working in a small business. It's hard work. They will expect more from you, but you get a better, better rewarding experience. But employers are generally looking for somebody that's not lazy, that can bring ideas to the table, that are highly well motivated. And you need to demonstrate that. I interviewed one girl once, and she came in and I was like, okay, so what do you want to do then? I don't know. Well, what really excites you then? I don't know. Well, what hobbies have you got? I don't know. I don't want them in my business, I'm sorry. And I don't think anybody does. So I can answer from my experience. I think generally employers are looking for motivation. They're looking for people that are get up and go, have got some conversation, have got some opinion, some personality over and above. I tell you, in my local Sainsbury's in Leamington, there's a guy and he has a bit of a joke. He looks only about 11, but he jokes with everybody. I tell you, I want him in my company because every time you go to Sainsbury's, he's like, morning, how are you? You having a great day? How are you today? Thinking, I like him, I want him. It's a bit too young though. He does only look about 11. Anybody else got a question before I get you to do something? So, what have we been talking about today? Belief, energy and commitment. You've got to think about your own beliefs in your head. Let's not believe there's a glass ceiling there. Let's believe I can be as successful as anybody else on this planet. Belief. Your energy is about your motivation, isn't it? What comes across in your body language, and your commitment is about being committed to your goal, committed to your outcome. Don't be a half-hearty person. Be fully committed. This is where I'm going and nobody's getting in my way. Be fully committed. The other 3 words, and I'm going to show you how to put this into practice. Well, actually, there's 6, right? But some of them are the same. Here you go. You got a pen? I'll say it. It's stand up, shut up, think up. Stand up, shut up, think up. I'm trying to get rid of the Coventry lilt on shut up, but I just can't. I try and be posh. It doesn't work. Shut up, stand up, shut up, think up. That's better, isn't it? Is that better? Stand up, shut up. Stand up, shut up, think up. This was an idea of mine because I wanted a really short, simple way to help you achieve the things that you want to in life. And I told you I've been studying for 20 years and I can write 20,000 words and I can write academic papers, but I want you to go away with something that you can actually use today when you need it. So the principles of stand up is like stand up for what you believe in. That's the big global stuff. Stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your rights. Stand up. I love you students because you're good, you're brave and you're bold. Well, I hope you are, because you will stand up to people, to the ruling bodies, to communities, there are people doing wrong. Stand up for what you believe in and stand up and be confident. When you watch the men in the Houses of Parliament, when I was down there, the men all walk like this. Don't they? They're like they look like they rule the world, don't they? The men, even though they're crap. Sorry. Sorry. They are, aren't they? I don't want to listen to any more televised political debates when they all look the same, sound the same, and talk the blemmin' same. I can't make my mind up, they're all the same. I keep saying I want to start my own party. Biggest way to become really enlightened is have your own political party in it, so I'll stay doing this. Anyway, stand up, because when you're standing up tall, you look more confident and you'll feel more confident. It's a good physiology, it's a good breathing system for your lungs. Stand up. When I'm watching the women in the House of Parliament, they're like running around with the papers. Whoa, 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 stop! Look like you own the place. Stand up. So that's your stand up idea. Stand up for what you believe in, stand up, be confident, stand up. Shut up is about your overthinking brain. That chatterbox that tries to talk you out of things. You know, who are you? You're not going to do this, you're no good. What's the point of that today? Shut up. And it also, shut up gives you the right to tell other people to shut up. When they go, well, you can't do that. What are you doing that for? Shut up. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. My best advice is to mix with the people that are going somewhere in life. You are the average sum of the 5 closest people to you. The average sum of the 5 closest people to you. So if you've got a great 5 people around you, you're going to go further than having really negative, I call them mood hoovers. If you've got any mood hoovers in your life, just, well, sometimes they're your mum or your dad, which is really tricky. I was going to say cut them out of your life. It's tricky, isn't it? I did read once about somebody that divorced their parents. That would be quite a cool idea, I think, for some people. So shut up your overthinking brain. I didn't stand up, shut up. And think up means think bolder, think broader, think a better question. Don't think why me. Think what can I learn? Think broader. Ask yourself a better question. Think up. Think up. There's a thinking down mentality and there's a thinking up mentality. Just think about how many times you can use the words think up in your daily life. You know, what other solutions can I think up to get to my answer today? Questions are so powerful. You know, when they, donkeys years ago, when everybody was sitting there in the desert thinking, oh, how do I get to that water? How do I get to that water? When they actually asked themselves, how do I get the water to come to us? Gives you a whole load of different solutions. So if you want an answer, ask the question that's going to give you the right answer and you'll find it in a much better way. So stand up, shut up, think up. You can all remember that and you can all do it every day when you need to do it. So if you've got to do a presentation, I'm going to show you a way where you can actually be more confident. You know, if you've got to go for a job interview, there was research done that when they put people in a positive posture, they were more likely every single time to get the jobs over the group of people that were put in a closed posture. I'll take you back to a TED talk by a lady called Amy Cuddy. She's the top researcher in this area about how your body language can affect your mood and your outcome. Amy Cuddy on TED. She's brilliant. So we're going to have a go, right? Be quick about it. You need 3 post-it notes. This is going to be really chaotic, but we can cope with that. 3 post-it notes, and you've got to be really quick, please. Catch. Whoop. 3 post-it notes, everybody, quick. You want them as well? Oh. 3 post-it notes, hurry up. Hurry up, she's got 10 minutes. Not a very good shot. Come on, chop chop. We're gonna have enough room. Shut up. I can say that now. I'm allowed to say shut up. Put them in the air when you've got 3, please, just so I know how many. Who's got 3? Hands up. Who's got 3? Hands up. Who's got 3? Okay, everybody. I need your attention. Can you write the word think on one? Think on one and up on the other. Think on one post-it note and up on the other. And then I do need you to stand up, actually, please, when you've got your think on one and up on the other. Stand up, please. Yeah, you're allowed to stand up in lecture theatres, you know. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. And then I need you to find a bit of wall. Find some wall. You can use out here as well. I need you to find a bit of wall. Get up! Blimey. Get up, get up, get up. You're not used to getting up in lectures. Let's sit down. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Get up, get up, get up. God, blimey. Phone comes in really handy. Right, okay. For the ones that can't find a bit of wall, that just shows you how you have to get off your feet a bit quicker, right? So I want you to take your post-it note with think on it and put it on the wall. Think and just put it on the wall. Cool, blimey. Looks like a very busy thing going on here, doesn't it? Right, okay. Shut up, please. And there might only be a few of you that can do this because you do need a bit of space. So have you now got the one with up on it? So stretch a little bit now. You know, go for it a bit. Put your up one. Stretch, 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 stretch. Stretch. Oh my God. It's chaos. Right, everybody. Oh my goodness me. What's going on? Right. It's the most fun I've had in a while. Right, okay. I don't know why I should do that because it was a total waste of time. But just forget for a minute. Not really. Okay, so let me explain what's going on here. When I asked you to put that first post-it note on there, that is where your normal thought pattern is, right? That's your comfort zone. You've heard of your comfort zone, where you mostly all will be existing at the moment. So whatever grades you get in, whatever outcomes your life you get in is there, right? The analogy is, imagine if, my 2 favourite words, imagine if every day you just put a little bit of application into what you're doing. Imagine if you just thought, today I'm going to stretch myself that little bit further. That gap could be the difference between pass or fail, couldn't it? It could be the difference between a 2-1 and a first. That's that gap there. Whatever that gap is, If you do work out at the gym, it's a difference between 10 reps and 12 reps. And it probably gives you an extra 25, maybe even 50%. I was doing a conference the other day on sales and we did this exactly same thing. I said, imagine if every day your sales targets were up there rather than there. This particular hotel chain, they only needed to achieve like a couple of quid extra per person per day. That's that gap. That's that gap. Right, okay. Now I'm going to ask you to do something else. You know, I talked to you about standing up and how your physiology will affect your outcomes for life. And you're going to feel really stupid doing this. I'm not bothered, right? So, somebody needs to time 2 minutes, but I want you to do this. And I'll tell you why when you do it. Do this. Do this. Do this. Yawning. Who's timing? Oh, our time. Okay, everybody, keep your arms up. You've got to keep like this for 2 minutes. Who's tired already? Lady at the back. Lady at the back in the headscarf. Get your arms up, please. Get your arms up. Get them up. Okay, listen up. Listen up. This is very important, this posture. This posture improves your confidence level. It improves your hero hormone called testosterone. As you're doing this, right? I'm going to try and do this to keep my arms up. Right, I'm sharp. I'm trying to explain what's going on here. So as you're in this posture, your testosterone level is increasing, which is your bravery hormone, and your cortisol level is going down, which is your stress hormone. So I teach this to people all the time. If you need some more confidence or an energy boost, just stand in this position for 2 minutes and it'll give you a better outcome. How many's that?
2 minutes.
Okay, right, listen up, listen up. Is anybody getting hotter? Anybody hotter? That's because your blood pressure's raising. I go a bit dizzy when I'm doing this. I've got too much testosterone as it is. I've gone numb. Yeah, but that shows you that you're really unfit. So your heart rate might be rising. Okay, so now take your third post-it note and put that on the wall. Should have gone a bit higher. Probably would have done had you got a bit more space. Okay, you can all take a seat again now then. Leave the post-its there for a minute. It's a lot noisier now actually, now you've all got a lot level of testosterone. You're all like that. Come on! It might hurt you, all right? That's because you're not used to doing it. But this actually changes your brain chemistry, as I've told you. It sends your testosterone up and your cortisol down. One lady I taught this to recently, was my belly popping out then? I should get the right clothes, was it? Jumping out. Is it out? Is it sticking out a little bit? Got to get the right clothes for these gigs. What was I saying? I was too bothered about my belly then. Anyway, yeah, so when you're in this posture, I'm not going to do it because my belly keeps popping out. When you're in this posture, your testosterone goes up, your cortisol goes down, and like I say, I've been teaching this to people for ages now. And one lady used it the other day, and she had to go into a court case, which is a very, very intimidating environment, isn't it, in a court case. And she felt a bit silly, but she thought, you know what, I'm going to go and do this for 2 minutes in the toilet, and it helped her win the court case. So if you need it before a presentation, before an interview, just be mindful that if you do that, you are going to change your brain chemistry and it'll make you feel bolder and braver and stronger. So what are the words that you've got to remember from today? Believe, energy, commitment, yeah, and then stand up, shut up, think up. You know, I was thinking about explaining my business journey. Somebody earlier was saying, you know, sometimes it doesn't always rain when you need it to. You know, in business, there is one problem after another, especially when you start up on your own. I used to have people that were going to me, well, what about this, what about this? I didn't know. I didn't have the answers. Every day I was massively out of my comfort zone. Every day I hit failure. Every day I had problems. I remember Sherry Blair, who you might know, she actually wrote to me and wanted me to be part of her programme, which I found hugely humbling. And then in exchange I said, well, how would it be if you came speak at one of our events? And so I'd got everything all lined up, you know, for this mega event with sponsorships and everything. I've got people coming from here, there and everywhere to this event. And the day before, the main sponsor pulled out, leaving me a massive cash gap. I've had people that I've been in business with that have dumped me and left me in the mire. You know, in business, everything goes wrong. There's a great saying that problems are a sign of life. And I think as long as you're having problems, it means at least you're having a go at life. But nobody completely can eradicate problems. Even in my business now, sometimes I think, I don't know now. I've built my company now to have 10 circles that meet around the UK where women get together and they share their ideas. We had 10 of those, and I'm thinking, well, if I want to grow another 10, that's going to cause a whole load of other challenges that I didn't know, a whole load of other problems, a whole load of obstacles that I'm going to have to go through. And if you want to run your own business, I used to think that anybody could do it. When you run your own business, you have to have resilience, because you have to keep getting up. You have to keep fighting through, because it's flipping hard. When you first start out, it's all down to you. You are sales and marketing, you're the managing director, you know, you're the advertising, you're in charge of your social media and Twitter, you're everything. And it's hard work. I met a lady recently, and she said she was going into business and having a small cafe in Leamington. I said, of course, yes, you should do it, but be prepared. And I saw her the other day and she was like, great. I was like, what's the matter? She was like, oh my God, we haven't even opened yet and I'm so stressed. I was like, I know, because the stress is a sign that you're out your comfort zone, that you're learning and growing. And I say, if you want to run your own business, just be prepared to work hard, to graft, to get up earlier, to stay up later, and eventually, you know, the days will come a bit easier, where eventually you can get to a level of magnitude of leverage from the work that you've already put in that then can leverage. And it's one of the reasons, talking about my business model, whereby we want to leverage the internet to put out great stuff. So I told you we've got 10 physical groups that meet now. We're extending online, and if you want to be part of that, that'd be amazing. So like I'm doing now, I want to do on video conferencing systems. I want to get it out there on, you know, on social media, so we can create like a platform that exists online where you don't have to be physically in a room together. You know, I want to produce audio stuff which you can listen to, and videos that you can see wherever you are in the world. So that's where we're going as a business model, because I just think, you know, when I first started my business 10 years ago, websites were really hard to find. There's something called, you probably heard of it, if you want your own website, you just go on GoDaddy and you can create yourself a great, fantastic website for nothing, for free. You know, with social media now, you can create campaigns that can go viral overnight. I'm not saying all that stuff easy, but what I'm saying is the routes now to market are a lot more straightforward than they used to be, rather than having to print loads of media. You know, I use people now in Bangladesh to do our design work and everything, which I think is fantastic. I love the idea of that, of supporting another woman in business in Bangladesh that might have not had the opportunity to do that. I think that's great. You know, so now the opportunities are there for you to set out in business, but you do have to work flipping hard. And I hope some of the other speakers today will talk from different perspectives inside their business about what it's all about. I think the thing to do is, if you want to have a business, choose something that you're really passionate about. And every book that you read always says that. And it's so true, because you have to be passionate about your big goals, you know, your big vision, to keep you going when it all really gets hard, because it does. You know, somebody said earlier, you know, that life doesn't always throw you a great deal of luck, and it didn't for me, because, you know, the Apprentice offered me some great rewards, but shortly after that I did have a very, very small baby, and she was born prematurely, and she died, and I had to bury her a few weeks later. And so after that I had to really work at pulling myself up through my bootstraps. Life does throw us really bum deals at some point, but what is the option? To stay in bed? Or is it to say, well, no, through my pain, through my difficulty, through my adversity, no, I'm going to find a purpose to my life. I'm going to find a purpose for my pain. And I think probably that's what drives me. That was in 2006. And I think that's what drives me, because I think, you know, life can have nothing in it. It can have nothing in it. And when I looked at my life then, it was, I got debts that was higher than the ceiling because I hadn't worked, you know, and I got pain that was so deep rooted inside of me that I need to work it through. I needed to work it through. And I thought, well, if my purpose in life then is to write or is to speak or to just drive through this pain, then I'm going to keep driving. So life does throw you really bum deals. We're not all born with a silver spoon in our mouth. We're not. But my best tip for you is just get up in the morning, get your routines, you know, inspire to a better life, mix with those people that are going to keep you going, and download the free stuff off the web like the TED Talks that will keep you motivated. I've absolutely been thrilled to be able to be part of your 3 days today. I find being in an academic environment totally inspiring. So thank you for allowing me to get re-inspired by you guys wanting to learn and make a difference in the world. You know, we're passing the baton to you. We're on the way out. We're passing the baton to you. So it's up to you guys to make a real difference in the world. So we can say that our hard work might have been a little bit worth it. Anyway, I'm Jo Cameron. Thank you very much for having me today, and I'm going to be around to take your questions later.